Yeah, there you go. As comprehensive as it gets there. I honestly don't even think Everton got out of second gear. 3-0 against Burnley. Very funny game, lots of funny moments. Ranging from Dwight McNeil shushing the Burnley fans, Shane Tarkowski scoring, Beto's cameo at the end, and that run set up Ashley Young. Just a really enjoyable, dismissive performance from Everton. And we're into the quarterfinals of the Cup. It feels good. Obviously, we don't know who that's going to be yet. Looking at the scores here now: Newcastle, Fulham, Chelsea, Liverpool, West Ham. Look like they're going to go through. But we'll react to that later on in the boozer. But just dead easy for Everton tonight. Swatted aside as a team that came here playing in a way that probably think they're a bit better than they are. I mean, I don't know what they're all about, but it's not for us to worry about. Blues are in the last 8. 3 games with a cup final. And a few weeks ago that felt like a long way away. 3 games of football, but at the moment that's 5 from 7 now. The season feels like it's very much up and running. So we'll be back very shortly in the Denbigh Castle for everyone else's thoughts. But yeah, enjoy this. I'm very, very pleased. Very positive. Goodison Park. We are back in the Denbigh Castle. Should have live reactions to the draw. Whenever that comes out, we're just watching Newcastle celebrate a 3-0 win at Man United. So they're through. A few other big names through as well. Joining me to chat through that win: Mark Mosey, Ed McCosh, and Matt Flusk. Mose, just dead easy that, wasn't it, really?
I reckon if Sean Dyche could have personally handcrafted what tonight's game was going to look like, he'd have probably picked a boring, mundane, routine, clean sheet win against a team who, pretty as it all was in the first half, had absolutely no cutting edge about them. 4 days before another Premier League game, obviously. The ability to hook Calvert-Lewin and make a couple of changes on 65, 70 minutes. It all just felt like Everton didn't really need to get that second gear. That's a damning summary of an opposition team coming to Goodison if Everton don't have to get out of second gear and beat you comfortably.
Are we good now? We've won 5 and 7.
From this particular point and a post-match for this one game, I would say it wasn't particularly good today. In Everton's defence it didn't have to be, and I think they obviously did enough to win the game. The one thing I would say about Everton at the moment is that we are starting. My big criticism of Sean Dyche has been all of the trademark Dycheisms that Everton should be. We really haven't been since he came in. We do look really uncomfortable to play against at set pieces now. There was, in particular, the second goal today at the point where Everton got that corner, and I thought we look pretty massive here. I'm holding back from saying Everton are massive because you'll probably clip that and use it as me saying we're back. But we do look like a big, physical, dominating side. Tarkowski, Branthwaite, Onana, amongst others, who all look aerially capable. That's not everything that we want this Everton team to be, but we have cried out for a more pragmatic and a more practical side over the years, and from that point of view we have got that, but certainly from a pretty football and a kind of a cup game under the Goodison lights to remember, that was none of those things tonight. But in everyone's defence, it really didn't have to be.
I thoroughly enjoyed that. I don't think I've enjoyed a game of Goodison as much as that since Bartek Borisov, the dead rubber.
So we got beat 1-0.
Yeah,
That one.
but I enjoyed it because it was meaningless. We were already through to the next round, and it was very, very funny. And that was very, very funny tonight. Clearly, with the selection, Burnley were not remotely arsed. Clearly, with Dyche's selection, he was. There were at least 2 changes there that didn't happen that I expected. So fair play to the man on that. I mean, it was just... We didn't even get out of first gear. We cruised. It was just... It was daft. It was physical. I can't believe... Did we even get a booking in the end? We had a lot of fouls, but no bookings. Possibly after we left. I said to Edge on the game, it's like the World Series of Dyche, that game, wasn't it? It was a purest wet dream. And I enjoyed every single second of it. And yet, the Toffees are good. I'm sorry, but they are. Like, I lost my head a bit because someone said they listened to a different football podcast run by a national newspaper where apparently one of the hosts said they didn't give us a chance against West Ham. And I was like, are you messing? We've already beaten Brentford away. Like, it might not have been odds on for us to beat West Ham, but surely anyone with half a brain gives us a chance, given the stats we've done this season. Like, all the signs were going in the right direction. Yeah, the points weren't, but the points are slowly coming through. Cup games are coming through. What are we now? 3 games from Wembley? Is it 2 legs again on the semi? 3 games from Wembley in a competition we've never ever won. Sean Dyche has the opportunity to make himself completely immortal by winning it. I just had to choke myself there. I nearly said, even if we get relegated, but I mean, that will be both immortality and infamy, wouldn't it, in the same season? But obviously, I don't think that's going to happen at all.
He'd certainly get his own brick on Everton way if that happened.
with a stain on it. No, but seriously, like, that's exactly how you want managers and teams to approach these kind of cup games. It wasn't really a banana skin. It wasn't really a tough game. We put out 90% of a strong team, plus Danjuma. No cup keeper. And yeah, I just really enjoyed it. It was so fun.
Just for a bit of fun, would anyone like to guess what Burnley's XG was tonight?
Oh, I know this.
A magnificent 0.07, which means that they were slightly more threatening than a light breeze, which is exactly what we want. It was so...
What kind of chance are we talking about to have a next... What shot has it? It's got to be from like 35 yards.
If you look at Pickford from 20 yards, you get 0.05.
One of those crosses where you think, hold on, is that dipping in? And then you go, no, of course it's not. That's what that one was. I enjoyed the hell out of that. It was just lovely fun. It was very much a throwback to the Everton of old, in that we could actually take apart a team that aren't as good as us, which was just really fun to watch. And obviously we're beholden to the draw, which will be coming up soon, as to whether we've got a nice route through to the semi-finals or a tough one. We'll wait and see how that goes, because that could be quite decisive in our season. But there's hope again. There's enjoyment and there's threat, and I think it's been spoken about plenty. But Dominic Calvert-Lewin brings that threat. He brings that glue up front. That brings the ball down well. Brings other players into it. We're just a different unit when he's there. And I give us a chance of winning games. And you look at Brighton now. A few weeks ago, we would have looked at a game like that and thought, we are getting murdered. And now you look at it and think, it's an opportunity there. This is a team that can't keep clean sheets against a team that's actually learned how to score goals. And that's what we needed. We needed a bit of hope and optimism. And as Matt's alluded to, the pragmatism's there as well. So if we can piece all that together, I'm very optimistic. But on a very poignant night, also poignant that Joe Royle was in attendance.
Yeah.
The last manager to lead us to glory, and I think it's time he was replaced. And if Sean Dyche can be that person, as Matt said, he won't need to buy a pint in Liverpool ever again.
It's exciting to talk about all this stuff, winning trophies.
All we need now is the draw for the...
Someone bell Dave.
I mean, we're probably going to have to do the draw a bit later. It's 11:15, ridiculously. I don't know why.
Got to warm up the balls.
Yeah. aye. But I suppose that hard to pick out players really, Mose. Like you were like outstanding tonight. But I think it's probably the second time this season, going back to to Brentford as well, that James Tarkowski has scored and assisted in the same game, which for a centre-back is mad. And it's weird, like he wins everything in the box. He's like a magnet to the ball in the penalty area, be it our own or the opposition. But I never look at him like you've got like a great leap on you, or like you tower above other players. He just seems to like find space, find a way of like making space between the defender, and then just like using his physique just to get over the top of people and just getting on the end of things. And he's just so good at it, isn't he?
He has got a weird natural instinct for that kind of right place, right time. Like he doesn't,
he doesn't spring, does he?
Or he doesn't really attack the ball. He's not like an overpowering force in the air, is he? The epitome of him in the air is that first goal tonight, where, as you say, he's not necessarily jostling with one of their centre halves, and it's a relatively controlled and precise finish as opposed to battering it in the back of the net like you would expect a Dave Watson of old, or like a really old-fashioned centre-half goal. If I was picking out other individuals, just to echo what Ed said, I think all of the narrative that Dyche fed us last year about letting Dominic Calvert-Lewin have every single second that he needed off in order to come back and be the player that he was meant to be. It was incredibly frustrating at the time, and we all wanted to go out and sign every striker under the sun to bridge that gap. But this is, nights like tonight, I think, it's not peak Calvert-Lewin, and it obviously didn't have to be, but we're a different force when he plays. I already, every time I think about how good that lad is, I fear about him not being involved in the side, and ultimately that is why he plays every single available game. You'd love to not have to play him tonight, but Everton are only Everton when he is involved. Long may his resurgence to form, and also is obviously he'll be frustrated not to get on the score sheet today, but that goal against West Ham at the weekend was just everything you ever want him to be, isn't it? Just right place, one touch, and then one touch to get into the space, and then one touch finish. It looks as though he's finally getting back to the player that he was promising to be before this kind of spell of injuries. I hesitate to even mention his name in terms of praise, because I'm not his biggest fan by any means, but I think tonight was probably the third game in a row where I thought Vitaly Mykolenko looked like a footballer.
He was basically doing a knee slide across the Denbigh Castle.
He did well in a difficult game at Anfield. I thought he did well at the weekend, and again, the enormous caveat continues about tonight not being in any way challenging, but I thought he looked really, really comfortable. There's still massive question marks for me about what he offers going forward, but I think that there is a really comfortable and solid left back there, and ultimately, to hark back to what we are now and the manager that we have, we're not looking for a Leighton Baines to go 70-80 yards up and down the pitch every 2 seconds. I thought he looked really efficient. Sadly, the one player I would mention on a negative for me was Danjuma tonight. I think we were never going to make wholesale changes, and he was obviously given his chance to shine. And I thought when we went 1-0 up against a team who obviously had no idea about how to score a goal, you would like to think have a little bit of freedom about his game and think, well, I've got Onana and James Garner behind me. I've got a very capable striker ahead of me and our 2 regular wingers. I've got space in this number 10 role to kind of be the player that I want to be. He went missing. I don't know what it is normally.
Someone once used about Billy Letnov. He's the only player on the pitch looking for his marker.
There was no Cobra coming out tonight.
You're not a fan of the Cobra?
It's more like a worm tonight, wasn't it? It was just utterly lifeless. I'm surprised he lasted as long as he did, but in the position he played tonight, which was essentially centre midfield, he's playing the highest of those 3. There is now a lot of competition, and as much as we didn't need the Corey to come on and be game changing, it really felt like a different force and a different Everton when he came on. We are obviously very heavily reliant on sort of physical presence in terms of the way we play at the moment, but even just capability on the ball and getting involved in play and link up. I expect a player like Danjuma to be totally different to the Corey in that role. And I think the only time we've really seen that spark from him, you probably look at the Doncaster game and little bits of the Sheffield United away game where you thought, you look like a relatively exciting footballer. And yeah, we're giving him a huge, a bump there. We are still waiting for him to be, just to justify his kind of his different position in the squad of being that player who can change games. And I'm a little bit flat and a little bit let down about what he contributed tonight.
Yeah, I think you made some good points about Mykolenko as well, Moses. I think Mykolenko is probably the best attuned to the way that Dyche plays the game, because he's asked to do a very, very simple task, not to sort of go too far forward, not to overstretch, because he is somewhat limited technically. He's not the best, but he has benefited a lot from being told to stick in a certain position and play it. Dan Juma is the complete opposite, and he feels like a Thelwell signing, not a Dyche signing. I don't think Dyche knows what to do with him. I don't think Dan Juma knows what to do in the system, and you could tell today he was awful. He was absolutely nowhere near the play, and you see players like Harrison and McNeil who would play themselves into the game. They would run back, they would come inside, they would fight for the ball, they would try and beat players, all of that sort of stuff. And Harrison wasn't amazing tonight. McNeil was pretty good, but not at his best. But they were involved. And you could point at 3 or 4 things they did and did that was quite influential. And Dan Juma wasn't a player. He's said before he likes playing up front, he likes playing on the wing. I don't know exactly where he thinks he's the best. But it's certainly not that 10 role, because as Moses was saying, when Doucouré came on, we all remembered why we liked Doucouré, because he was just heavily involved. So there's work to do there, but I must say it's very nice for me to think about Everton's depth. We're worrying about players like Arnaud Danjuma and Beto, who I love, and he's still in his honeymoon period as far as I'm concerned.
We'll have a section on him in a minute.
Excellent. It's lovely that we're talking about those sort of players and how they can ingratiate themselves with us, as opposed to sort of grasping tentatively for any old or extremely young player who happens to be on the bench. Long gone are the days of having 3 or 4 goalies and wondering which centre-back we're going to bring on today. So that's a positive as well. I'm seeing all the positives at the moment because we're in a nice run of form, and hopefully we'll be just as happy after Brighton.
I'd like to see Lonergan tonight.
Up front. Why not? Make it even more fun. No, I agree with all that Ed said. And well, are we in the better section yet? Or? I just did back to Calvert-Lewin actually. I think I brought it up. Was it earlier this week, last week?
Sunday.
The little things he does, the little bits of creativity, but real creativity, not setting up chances, but keeping things alive. And I thought of a name for it tonight. It's not a butterfly flick, it's a butterfly header. When you just see him come out your peripheral vision, off the ground, he just comes flying through the air and just goes like that. And the player's like, where did he come from?
Someone describe what Matt just did for his audio.
He just
craned his neck and
It was a kind of ALL Sfosbury flop.
but he cranes his neck, but he's off the ground. He's already jumped for the header, but he has so much hang time. It's like he's moving horizontally through the air as he does it, and then he just does a little flick with his head and keeps the ball alive. Maybe that's why he uses the little rainbow, the little butterfly thing for the butterfly header.
Before the second goal, he makes something out of nothing, doesn't he? It's a long ball forward, and he gets in between the 2 defenders, and he squares them both up. And he has a shot at the deflection, it goes out. But like that, we haven't got another player in that situation. Certainly not another forward who would get the ball there, make something of it, and get us a corner. And like that's just what he gives you, isn't it? Like a long, hopeful ball that we play a lot of, admittedly, with somebody else who's not as fast, strong, technically good, goes to waste, and they're back on the attack. With him, he's got the speed and physicality to get into the position, and then he can manoeuvre the ball. He's smart enough to know when to get the shot off, and like that just gives you a platform to either take pressure off or go and score a goal like we did tonight.
Yeah, we laboured for the best part of a decade with strikers doing what me and my dad called the Yellowish special, which is lump the ball up, they'll jump up, win the header and flick it on to no one, because they're the lone striker, whereas Calvert-Lewin knows to flick it to the wings. And it's a very rare skill for a centre forward, especially one of his size and his strength, to be able to do that with such finesse and keep a chance alive. It does add a whole new dimension, and to reiterate what Les was saying, like at the weekend to me, which I then repeated.
You're robbing all Les's points on the podcast.
Well, no, he wasn't on last week. That's the thing. Like, I told the listeners what he said after the game of the weekend. That
piece you've got in there.
Bad lines from Les.
Les, shut up. No, Les said we forgot for the longest time just how good he is.
Yeah.
And we're starting to see it again. And I mean, well, better keep it quiet because Dave will be selling them soon.
Just one last person, just because you've said forgetting how good people are. I think the biggest credit I could play to Jared Branthwaite tonight is that we're not even mentioning him because we've just gotten used to the fact that he's just great.
Yeah.
No.
Man of the match is a choice of 10 players.
Judges the ball really well, reads the game really well. There was only one occasion I can think of where he even had to stretch out a leg to make a tackle.
That was a brilliant tackle.
It was.
And he's got that John Stones ability to be utterly cool on the ball, even to the point where we're panicking. And I haven't seen that at Goodison since Stones, and you can see what's happening to him now, and I feel like Branthwaite's on the same trajectory.
He is weirdly flawless so far, even to the point where I kind of want to see him make an error just to see how he reacts, because he just looks ice cold at the moment. But yeah, just to reiterate that, I think the biggest credit I could play is that you expect nothing else from him anymore, because he has very quickly cemented himself as being that guy at the back where you think, well, the other one alongside him needs him. And I think that's a massive credit to play to a 19-year-old.
Yeah, very quickly, we'll have a quick break, then come back for the draw, which is in 15 minutes, bizarrely.
Well, until then, can't we talk a bit about Beto?
Well, that's what I was going to finish off. I was going to say, is Beto...
Well, let's talk about the opposition and all have a nice laugh about how Jay Rodriguez and Nathan Redmond are still somehow professional footballers.
Neither Burnley nor Beto can warrant 15 minutes of anyone's time.
I mean, Matt, has he got the potential, Beto, to be the funniest Everton player ever?
That's a good question. Potentially,
he is hilarious, isn't he?
I think all those players over the years who have tormented us for other teams, who are just competition winners, jokes, complete journeymen, but they always score against us. I reckon he has the potential to be that player for everyone else.
So he's going to score against everybody?
Yeah, over a 6-year career. Over a 6-year career, he's going to score 4 goals a season, all against different clubs, and they'll all be winners.
I don't think he'll score 4 goals for Everton.
I'm a massive Beto stan. I'm firmly in his corner.
A great bit of play to set up that Fergie.
He's a battering ram, isn't he?
He's so earnest and he works so hard. You want the best for him. Look at his little face. Oh, he used to work at KFC, for God's sake. Love the man. And he worked so hard for that third goal, and it was all him. There's no goal there unless he does it.
And he did a proper Strack cry as well, from an assist.
He celebrated it like he'd scored, and then gave his big one to the crowd after the goal, as if that poor Ashley Young was just trotting back like he'd done nothing.
He was wearing an Everton top, without any kind of a joke or irony. He was literally wearing an Everton top when he was 16, wasn't he? Yeah. Surely this must somehow mean something to him, bizarre as it is in this modern age. There's video evidence of it.
Is that the first time we scored with him on the pitch at Goodison?
At Goodison, yeah. Doncaster, wasn't it?
That was away, wasn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah. It means a lot to him, clearly.
His current Everton top is always just annoyingly slightly too big for him, which needs sorting immediately.
It's like Duncan Ferguson-esque, isn't it?
It's that bit in The Simpsons, it's like, I need the biggest 7 kit you've got. No, that's too big.
Right, we'll leave it there. Anyway, we'll be back within seconds for you guys. It's about 15 minutes the draw goes on. For live reaction to that. Predictions for the draw before we break. Mosey, are we getting the draw?
I think we will get Newcastle away.
Ed?
Chelsea away.
Matt?
I'll predict the one I really want, which is Borough away, because I made a lot of good mates up there over the summer while I was working. I really want us to get Borough away.
Did Fulham get through?
Yep.
I'll go Fulham at home.
Oh, that'd be nice.
Let's see who's right. Right, the draw is on after... How long have we waited for the draw, Mose?
18 years.
Everton are number 5 in the draw. So Middlesbrough, Port Vale, Liverpool, Chelsea, Everton, Fulham, Newcastle, West Ham. Ed, are you excited for the draw?
I'm bored. I was clean shaven when we won the game, and I have a big beard now. I'm apprehensive, but here we go. Number five.
Everton number 5, right. Here
I'm
we
so
go.
annoyed at the draw that I wish we'd have got beat. We are at home.
We're on first. Everton are on first.
Come on.
Wembley.
One.
Number 6. There we go. Fulham, who have beaten us twice in the last 2 games at Goodison. There we go. It's far too late. We're going to end the podcast now. Everton have got Fulham in the quarterfinals. Chelsea are out next, but no one's asked. Happy with that, Mose?
Absolutely. The only irk there is that you got your prediction right, which is quite frustrating. But it's obviously very hard to gauge what sort of teams are getting put out here. But having just watched the highlights of teams like Newcastle and West Ham, who are seemingly taking this very seriously, then I think Fulham at home, absolutely every one of us is unbelievably happy with.
So Port Vale are out now. So what's the other one? Chelsea, Newcastle. Port Vale's going to get them. Liverpool,
yes,
isn't it?
yeah.
Reckon, yeah.
If I know a football, this is Liverpool. It isn't. Yeah.
So Liverpool, so the last one's Liverpool, West Ham. Then
Away, come on.
we'll just wait. We may as well just wait now.
Oh, Davy Moyes.
Liverpool are home to West Ham. There we go. We're happy. Potential semi-final against the Reds.
No.
One game at a time. We'll leave it there. Up the top, speak to you soon.